Welcome back to Inside the Nest.
I'm your host, Will Mays, and this is the Friends University Athletic official podcast. This is where we dive deep into the grind, the growth, and the game day moments of our student athletes. So stay locked in because we're going inside the nest.
And today we have 3 special guests with us. But before we get started, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and our Instagram and all our social media platforms. So today we have the football head coach, Coach Terry Harrison. We have my boys, Brock Zerger, and then Andrew Arnold. So let's get started. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
Of course. So first, let's talk about how you transitioned to French University from Bethel, and like how was that for you, and how like as a program, what was you looking to bring over to French University?
Well, I was a high school coach here in Wichita, and so did that for a long time. And Friends was kind of always in the back of our minds as high school coaches in the area. We thought maybe that could be a place where maybe you could win at the national level, that maybe not so much at other places. And so I happened to go to church with the AD at Bethel College, and I went as the head coach there. We won a couple conference championships, played the playoff game, and then the spring of 22 is when the Fringe University job came open, and had some connections to the administration here, and came and saw what it was like, met President Carey and Dr. Ramsire, and then decided that we were going to come on over here and try and build this program back to what it had been during my playing days a long time ago. And this is year 4 for us now, and we've had a really good run the last couple of years, and we're really excited about this fall.
Yeah, because so far, it's been a good year for this past year for all athletics, but football really stands out just because everybody wants to see football. I believe it's only football team in Wichita, so it's always good to have people come out and So Brock, I heard that both of y'all are quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
So how has that transition been from you playing quarterback going to defense, and then Drew, you playing quarterback going to defense?
Yeah, I mean, it's real smooth. I'm from the area. I'm from the Wichita area, from Derby. So, like you said, I was recruited here to be a quarterback. That was my plan all along, was to be a quarterback. Obviously, got moved to defense kind of midway through my freshman year. But I think just being able to have that offensive experience definitely makes it a smooth transition for sure. Just kind of having to know where everyone's at. Like playing safety is kind of considered the quarterback of the defense, I guess you could say. So I say in that aspect, like a leadership perspective, and just like knowing the game of football as a whole, definitely kind of made a smooth transition for sure.
Yeah, so Drew,
man, I've been good, bro. I would say it's a little bit tougher for me just because, growing up playing quarterback and everything, I didn't really want to hit nobody. That's why I played quarterback. So coming over here, and my freshman year, we weren't as loaded with all the guys we got now. So that's just kind of how I got my opportunity to play quarterback. And just switching over, I had some guys mentor me like Pierre and Sham at the linebacker situations. They really made it a really smooth transition for me. There's definitely some learning curves. I had to play in the fire a little bit to get to really see how it goes, but it's been good. I really like it. So.
Yeah, that's good, man. I know it's probably hard to, you've been probably doing it your whole life, so kind of changing positions midway, especially in college, with grown men, I know that can be tough. But last year y'all had a pretty good season. Y'all made it to the national tournament, I believe, second round. I believe so. Y'all led the NIA in rushing yards. So just based off last year, what are your expectations for this year coming up? I know the first home game is this Saturday. So what are some key things that you're looking forward to build off from last year's momentum as y'all made it a deep run in the playoffs?
Yeah, it was a really exciting year last year. I think we were 11-2. I think we led 46 of 52 quarters. Had an opportunity to win the playoff game against the eventual national champion. We just came up a little bit short. And so, we tell everyone that we've talked to with players and coaches that, it makes sense to say, hey, our goal now is to win a national championship or maybe win another game. But we're going to focus, that is not the goal for us. Our focus is having the best team culture in all of NAI football. And so we work really hard at that. I don't even know how you measure that. But I think you do feel it when you're around our team. So. Yeah. We've really focused on that, and I think, if we continue to do that, we're going to have opportunities to win every Saturday. And then if we can kind of, control what we're, the small details that we focus on, both on offense, defense, and special teams. If we do that, we'll have opportunities. And then, our hope is that when we get to the big game and the big games we have throughout the season, that would make the plays that, at times we made last year, and then there were times we came up just short. And so I'm excited to watch our kids play. We have so many returners and veterans and all that good stuff, and young players that are going to help us as well. So it should be a lot of fun this year, and hopefully we can, I guess live up to some maybe people's outside expectations for success.
Yeah, because I noticed, last year, like I said, a lot of sports either won the conference or made it to nationals. So I know with me, like being the basketball captain, like football has a very good culture, and it's something that like I try to use for our basketball teams to build off of. So like how is it just keeping like the culture the same? Make sure like even though like you have new people, but like making sure that they're buying in, just living up to the standard that you guys have set and the culture that you set for the last 4 years.
Well, I mean, these guys do a great job of that. A lot of that is peer coaching and peer modeling. I think our guys take great pride in that. And, it's one of those deals. We want to win, certainly. Like, they keep score. So, at some level, the whole point of athletics is, at some level, to win. But more than that, if your culture can focus on more than the scoreboard, when you win, it's worth it and it's fun and you have great friends. Because you can win and hate it. I've certainly made that mistake before as a coach. And so what we want to do is, we want to have a culture that when you do win, we do love it, we enjoy it, the families enjoy it, and even other teams. We hope we want to be the gold standard on this campus, and hopefully other teams, we influence other teams on this campus to, compete in a way that honors God and, bring some championships home along the way.
Yeah. So, Brock, how is it just, being, 20 minutes away from home? Like, what is it about that hometown feeling that makes you, want to, keep doing this thing for Wichita?
Yeah, I mean, I think, just growing up Wichita area my entire life, obviously I knew kind of what Friends was, but I never really necessarily saw myself going here. But, coming out of high school, when I saw the opportunity, and just to be able to stay close to home, and I saw the vision that Coach Harrison had, although they didn't necessarily have the greatest season, I could see where the direction of the program was going. It was just something I could definitely see myself fitting right in and contributing to. And I think, for me personally, like being able to go as far as we did last year and hopefully carrying that into this season, definitely kind of makes it more special, I guess, in a sense for me. And I know we have a lot of other local guys too that definitely means a lot too. So I think just being able to play for your town, I think it just makes it mean more, I guess I could say.
Yeah, so I mean, as an athlete, everybody wants to play for their hometown. Everybody wants to, be that man for the hometown. But Drew, I know me and you both are from Oklahoma. Being away from home can suck at times, but what are some things that you do to keep you grounded, keep you ready to play, even though you're away from your home, away from your family? It's just student athletes. I know people struggle with mental health. People struggle with being away from family. So what are some things that keep you grounded and keep you ready to go?
I would really say now, since I've been here for 3-4 years now, Wichita's really just, this is kind of odd. Like when I go home, it feels like that's why I'm going away for college, for the summer or something like that. Like coming back here with all the guys and just really the relationship we have as a team, and just be able to just, if I need to talk to Brock or anybody on the team, really it's really a family here. And so, of course I gotta talk to my family back home and keep the roots there. But like I said, really when I come up here, it's home to me now almost, just because I have all my people here, and just that's just what I really love up here. So
yeah, that's good, because often you often hear how a lot of people are scared to take that next step in college, the freshman year, just being from home. But just so athletes can know, it's not easy being away from home. It's not easy, going to college because it's a different level, different stage. But also you're starting over. You're being a freshman again. But I just wanted them to know that it's okay to take that step. You'll meet family wherever you go. You'll especially your friends. So Coach, hey, you got a game Saturday. This Saturday, first game week. What are you most excited about? What is making you? I'm pretty sure that you're staying up at night. And sleep. What is one thing that's making you ready to play? I know is it the big run, or is it the vision that you have for this season? What is one thing that's keeping you up at night and keeping you ready for this game?
Well, I'm not a game day stressor, so I sleep like a baby. I'm going to go.
Okay,
That's the me. I'm excited to watch our guys play. That's the thing. There's a saying out there that practice is for coaches and games are for players. And I think at some level, that's definitely true. And so for us, we've been practicing since July 21st. We have 16 spring practices or whatever it was. It gets you know, and when you have returns like this that kind of understand the expectations, you know, we've spent a bunch of time, really more than anything, introducing our new players to how we operate. But it is fun. It's fun to play games, and it's fun to see our guys compete against other people. And, you know, especially the longer the season goes, the more the games seem to matter. And so for me, that's what's fun. You know, as a coach, you stress about all the stuff that's, you know, just being fully transparent. There's some stuff that's not fun. You know, picking starters isn't fun. Picking playing time's not fun. Managing the food, managing the game day travel, all that stuff is not fun. But when you're in the game, and for me especially, you know, it's fun to win games big. And I think, you know, as a university, they like to see big scores and winning by 50. Yeah. But for me, there's very small segments of the season that are really fun, and like, you know, the playoff games when it's really tight and you can win or lose, or you know, up at Grandview when we're in the fourth quarter and it could go either way. Like that to me is what you do it for. And so, you know, in order to get to those big moments, which I enjoy, we do have to, you know, take care of the little things now, which are like we talked about already, practice, team culture, and all that good stuff. So I'm just more than anything excited to watch our guys have fun and play the game the right way. And you know, as much as anything, it's fun to walk off the field and hear, you know, people talking about how great our kids are, because they are, and I'm very proud of them.
Yeah, the team's pretty. I mean, I watched a few practices from the track, whatever, but the team looks like that. You know, they're ready to roll. So I'm excited to see. You know, Brock, you know, what are some personal goals that you have for this year? You know, I know last year you was I think honorable mention. So like, what are some things that like you want to do personal, and then like, what are some expectations that you have for the team as, you know, being a returner, being a veteran, you know, seasoned, ready to play? So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, my first goal is always just to be the best possible teammate that I can possibly be. You know, team culture's first, but obviously winning games is second. You know, all the kind of personal things come after that. So I think as long as I can put myself in the best position to help our team win, whatever awards come after that, you know, would be cool. But that's obviously my first goal. And, you know, like Coach said, I feel like the first game and stuff, I think it's just kind of exciting. Like he said, like games are kind of for the players, I guess. You know, it's been a long off season, you know, from when we first last lost to Grandview. Yeah. You know, that's kind of what we've been thinking about, is when we can play again. And obviously, you know, there's a lot of steps that go into that. Spring ball, summer practices and stuff. So I think it's just kind of exciting to, you know, put what we've been working towards on film, I guess, and just get that opportunity to go, you know, show what we've been working towards the last 8 months or however long it's been.
Yeah. Drew, what are some things that you're looking for this year? You know, personal, team, just, you know, I know you being, like I said, you being a returner, and you know, you're nice at that position. I'm not gonna lie. You're pretty nice. So like, what are some things that like, you know, that you're ready to bring to the young guys and let them see, you know, some passion, you know, like, you know, what are some things that you got planned for this year?
Really like what kind of Brock said, just kind of set the standard, show the young guys, and, you know, it is my senior year, so I'm just ready to kind of let it loose and just every play focus on what I can control, bring the attitude, the effort every single time we step on the field, and just try to be like a relentless defense. That's what, because, you know, I can't really focus on what the offense does, you know, so we can only kind of focus on what the defense does, and that's really just bringing physicality, bringing effort, bringing a good attitude to every single game. And if we do that, then I don't know how many teams can really stop us, you know, because we are a veteran group, we are really talented, and the personal goals, you know, kind of like Brock was saying, is just if I can control everything that I can control and not worry about outside things, and just, like I said, bring a good attitude and effort every single day, the awards will come if they come. You know, if they do, it's a blessing. If not, you know, it is what it is. I have a strong teammates, I have a strong relationships with my guys, and that's the only thing I'm really caring about, just giving it all I can on this last ride, so just see where it takes us.
Yeah, well, as y'all can see, I mean, Coach Harrison got these boys humble. I mean, they're definitely team first for sure. But yeah, I know that, Coach Harrison, we talked, I know that you have a thing where you do 12 captains, I believe. And me and Brock talked about it a little bit. He kind of told me it's like 12 disciples. So like, you know, how do you keep God, you know, instilled in your team, even when people, you know, might not believe, you know, but they might have like their own beliefs. But like, how do you keep God at the center point of this team? Because obviously, you know, talent can take you far, but, you know, having that faith, you know, and just trusting with like one another can take you even farther. So how do you keep God at the center point?
Yeah, well, you know, we try to do that in multiple ways. Number one, sharing our failures as men, as coaches and husbands and fathers, showing our failures and where we fall short. You know, but more than that, the reality is we lived in a world of chaos, and college sports is chaos, basketball, football. If you pick a sport, it's absolute chaos right now. And, what's celebrated, maybe on the national scene and on a greater scale, really is, it might be rooted maybe in a little more selfishness and what can this sport do for me? And while that's certainly fine and that's okay, there's probably room for that. We want to be a countercultural program. And so when, some people, we talk about honoring God through the game of football, it's like, what does that even mean? But the reality is toughness, selflessness, loyalty, all of those things, being humble, all of that is a way to honor God through the game of football, putting someone above yourself. Those are ways that you can model biblical leadership, through what I call a silly game of football. And so we try to do that every day. And the reality is if we win a bunch of championships, or even a national championship one day, man, I certainly hope that's the case. But if we do that, and these young men don't at least either have the seed planted or have a developing, maturing relationship with Jesus Christ, we've kind of wasted the point. And, in the end, you lose championship rings, you lose trophies. There will be a different coach here one day, whatever that means. There will be other players here one day. And in the end, when our young men die, we want to go to heaven. And we believe the Bible to be objectively true, and we want to coach in a way that kind of models that. And we want when other people see our program, they see Jesus through this silly game of football. And, that's ultimately the purpose of our program. Understanding that they do keep score and we want to win, and we believe if you're going to put Jesus' name on your program, it requires excellence. And for us, that means a really violent brand of football, because if Jesus played, we think he'd probably be an offensive lineman or a middle linebacker, and he'd be out there striking people. So that's a long way around what that looks like for us. But we do have a leadership group. We call it the upper room. Jesus retreated to the upper room with his 12 disciples, and so in no way am I comparing myself to that. But what we try to do is cross-section the team, seniors, freshmen, every dorm represented. It's not even necessarily a captain thing. It's just a way that these young men get to hear maybe the behind the scenes of what coaches go through, so they're informed and have a little bit of input. And more than that, they just have the reality behind why we make decisions and why we do what we do. And it's just a way to share who we are as a program, and those guys can then share it with their teammates.
Yeah, I mean, as a player, I'm pretty sure that's what people are looking for. Our parents too. So, let's talk to some possible recruits. Recruits wants to hear from players most of the time because coaches, their job is to pitch their program. So as players, what are some things that you could tell some recruits, either football, other sports, what to expect when they come to French University?
Yeah, I mean, football specifically, I obviously know, we've talked about team culture. That's really the biggest thing. You go to a lot of programs around the country, and I've only been at Friends, so I don't want to speak too much on other programs, but from what you can see, you go out to practice, and the reality of football nowadays, it's fighting at practice where F-bombs every other word, and you come here, it's just not that at all. Everyone is kind of riding for each other, working towards the same goal, playing for something bigger than themselves. And I think that kind of rubs off on the rest of the campus, I'd say. You go around campus, it feels like it's a home, kind of like a home environment for everybody. I have a lot of friends on the basketball team I say what up to, baseball team. Everyone kind of gets along, and I think that kind of is what separates us from a lot of other schools. And like I said, I don't want to speak for other schools, but I know for sure that is not how it is all the way around. So I'd say it's definitely like a family environment here, and that's, obviously one of the reasons why I even came here to begin with. So.
Yeah. Drew, what do you think? What do you think that, what do you want the recruits to know when they choose French University, or if they're going through that process, what we have to offer here?
Just like Brock said, a family vibe on campus. Like you said, I got friends on the basketball team. My roommates freshman year were basketball players, and you think they're basketball team. They probably won't mess with me or hang out with me as much, but they're some of my best friends. At the time. So like I said, really just a family atmosphere. You're gonna get a family culture, and we actually had a kid who came from a couple other different schools, and he was like, man, it's so much different from the coaching staff to the players, just to everybody that you're gonna get a sign of respect everywhere you go. You're not ever gonna feel belittled or anything like that, disrespected anywhere you go. And like I said, I can't speak for other colleges that haven't been there, but I think that Friends is very connected in every sport and every aspect, from the academics to sports to the people at the top to the people at the bottom. So it's just a really good family atmosphere. So.
Yeah, because I went through the recruiting process, and my biggest thing was I wanted to find a family feel. When I came here, I feel like I found that. I feel like I'm able to trust to higher ups, trust my teammates, trust my coaches. So I mean, and that's like in the day as a parent, that's what pretty sure like that's what they want their kids to be able, trust the coaches with their kids. So coach, hey, I know that you do a lot of recruiting, a lot of talking, but like what are some things that you will want to tell the recruits? If they choose here, if they're not, but like what you want them to know about French University?
Yeah, well, I mean, you've heard two players say it. The reality is that it is a special place. I think sometimes these two young men have done a good job of verbalizing. They've only been here, but they're mature enough to maybe listen to people outside of Friends and hear what their experiences might be, and they have a level of gratitude for Friends that maybe for some people they have to transfer here to feel that. But I would tell you, for us, on the football side of things, the reality is we are not for everyone. And so when I talk to recruits, I like to be very clear, like, look, we may not be the right school for you. And if we're not, please don't come here, because it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Because what happens is when you're a parent and you're a player, a recruit, you feel like you're getting sold something. And you feel like you're getting manipulated a little bit into maybe, like the idea of buying into a message, right?
Yeah.
But what we like to share, this is really who we are. You will see it and feel it on your visit. And for most people, when you visit campus, whether that's on an academic visit or a game day visit or whatever that might look like for your specific program, you probably know within 24 hours if it's the right school for you or not. Now, you might have some questions about a major. You might have some self-doubt about if you can start or play that position, or, there might be some small things and some questions that you need answered. But, for most people, you can kind of feel it when it feels like home. And what's funny is, for a lot of families and for a lot of kids, that's a surprise to them, because they didn't necessarily know they were going to love Friends, especially Wichita area people, because you drive by it on Kellogg every day, and it seems like an afterthought. And they're a little bit surprised when they show up on campus, like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I did not realize it's as cool as it is, or whatever that is, right? And so I would tell you, it can be a life-changing experience for you if you allow it to be, and just don't be surprised if it's the right school for you. And if it is, you should act on it, because right now across sports, especially in football and in basketball's had success, and a lot of others, softball, all the ones I'm forgetting had a lot of success. The reality is rosters fill up, and so when you do your visit and you come and check it out, if it's the right school for you, you should absolutely jump on it. And if it's not, please don't come here, because it takes a special person here, and we want people to fit into this school and fit into this program.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's right on. That's right on the point. A lot of people, have hopes to make a roster spot and all that, but here at Friends, I feel like it's bigger than sports. I feel like sports drive the campus. I feel like professors, just like even in the CAF, the SADO, like everybody here is very welcoming. Everybody here is one, I believe. So, I think Friends University is just a great place to be. Even if you're not in sports, you can enjoy. We have clubs, we have fine arts, we have everything. Even our singing Quakers, and they're good. It's like everything here is just headed towards the right direction. I feel like that. I want that we should publish that more and push out Friends University more. So I just want to thank y'all for joining. It's our first one, so definitely plan on seeing y'all back here. With a national championship trophy. That's the end goal. I mean, for me, I know for y'all, like team has different goals, but for me, I want to see y'all with a national championship. I mean, y'all made it. I mean, y'all can do it, and I know, y'all have some sparsely talented players that can make it, that can get it done. So more so coaching staff. I see the coaching staff. They buy in. They're in the cabs talking to players. They're talking to every other sport. So, just Friends University is just a big old campus, and I love it here. I mean, so thank y'all for tuning in to Inside the Nest. We have 3 people representing the Friends Falcons football team, and stay tuned for their first game at home this Saturday. Thank y'all.